Recording.
Okay. And then, Ryan, can you hear me? Okay, I'd like to welcome our clients and those that are watching the replay and the recording to this special edition of Matt on the Markets. We've got our slides up and we've got a great presentation to share with you today. In terms of agenda and overview, we're going to give an update on what I call our bear market protocols, talk about our signature wealth elevated, and then Ryan, our head of client advice, is going to share an update on an investment perspective, and then we're going to talk about recommendations and where we go from here. So with that, I'll start with our core mission, which is trust the signature difference. This is my 26th year in the business, and over these years, I've gone through dozens of periods of market volatility, some big, some small. And over the time, I've developed a series of what I call bear market protocols. Probably need a better title for them, but that's what I call them because it's moments when clients are paying more attention and want to know, okay, there's a lot of uncertainty in the world. What do we need to do? And so over the years, I've, again, with the bear market protocols, identified what I call the 5 Ps. Have a plan, be prepared, focus on protecting what you have first, keep a long-term perspective, and number 5 is the hardest part. It always was, always will be patient. Fast moves in fast markets are rarely a good idea. Now, the great news is this is why you work with a wealth management team. 1, 2, and 3 are already done. This is the work we've been doing over the years, and for some of you, decades that we've worked together. Every one of our clients has a plan. In that plan, we recognize there's going to be volatility over time. There's going to be crises. That always happens from time to time. There's going to be down years. We're not making a prediction about this year. We just know volatility happens. So we've already put preparations in place, and your plan accounts for that. And then every one of our clients, this is signature part of the work we do in our investment strategy, has a risk management plan and a risk management strategy. It's already incorporated into your plan. It's already there. So I would say 80, 90% or more of what you need to do to be prepared for volatility, we've already done. And so our focus right now is on number 4. And then at the end, I'll talk more about how to be better at number 5, perspective. Okay. And so the other thing that we know and that I've learned over these years, you all want to hear from us. You've got questions, there's uncertainty. How does this affect me? And so in consultation with my partner, Ryan, yesterday, we made the decision to initiate our service offering that we call Signature Wealth Elevated or Signature Elevated. We most recently did this 3 years ago with the bear market of 2022. And so we have initiated Signature Wealth Elevated today. What does that mean? You'll be getting more proactive communications from us on a more regular basis. We're not going to flood your email inbox, but as there are things that we feel like are relevant or pertinent, we will send those out on a more regular basis. We will have these live periodic Matt on the Markets because there are some fast moving events and people are interested in them. And then starting Monday, Ryan and I have set aside or blocked out times in our calendar to do one-on-one check-ins via Zoom. These are going to be brief 15-minute check-ins. They're designed to give an update, answer any individual questions you have, and do a quick review of your strategy just to see if we want to make small adjustments or changes. Spoiler alert, for most of you, the answer is probably going to be you're fine, but we know that you want to hear from us and we want to be in front of you. And so our team is ready to start scheduling those as there is demand. One of the great things about our clients, you all know this, and so we tend not to get that many that want to take us up on it, but If you want to talk next week or 2 weeks, we are ready. Even if it's not a scheduled periodic review, call us, and there'll be an email that'll go out Monday too. Call, email any member of the team. We're ready. Ryan and I have set aside time to meet with you as needed. Okay, in terms of market update, the main point that I want to make here about the tariffs is my son, who's a sophomore in high school, he's taking a current events class, and he was asking me one day, he said, "Dad, what's the difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics?" And I said, "Well, Adam, I describe it this way. Microeconomics is 99+% of all the economic activity that goes on in the world, but it's typically only affecting one person or a small group of people, and millions and millions and millions of microeconomic decisions and activities go on every single day. Macroeconomics tends to be those major decisions or policies or events that it may just be one event or one policy, but it affects millions and millions and millions of people. Why do I bring that up? The policy, the tariff, trade negotiations, whatever term you want to give it, at this moment is clearly a macroeconomic event. That doesn't mean it'll be good or bad. That's still to be determined. There's a lot that needs to happen, but it is a macroeconomic event. You all get that. Why does that matter? Why that matters is most of what we see, garden variety volatility, is short-term or cyclical. This has the potential, I want to be very clear here, none of us know exactly how this is going to play out. It could play out over the short term. It could play out and take months or years to play out. It could play out very positively. It could play out not as positively. That's still to be seen, and quite frankly, no one for sure knows. But the point is, the longer the tariffs, at least as proposed, stay as they are, these are structural changes, not cyclical changes, meaning they have the potential to have long-term impact on not only our economy, but on the global economy. We have no control over the short term, what the market does. It's going to do what it's going to do, but we have control over our bear market protocols, being prepared, making sure you're protected, having a plan. And then the other part is giving you our perspective. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our head of client advice, Ryan, to talk about investment strategy and specifically the fourth P, perspective.
Thank you, Matt. So first and foremost, I said this 2 weeks ago, and I'll start by saying it again today. Not here at all to minimize how anybody may be feeling. What I am here to do is to provide perspective and reinforce our approach to managing through volatility and uncertainty. And so this first chart looks back over the past 55 years, and you can see there are many instances that have caused concern and uncertainty. Many of those are the macroeconomic events that Matt talked about and referenced earlier. And if we had a time machine and could go back to those instances and be in those moments again, my guess is that many people would be saying something along the lines of, yeah, but this time's different. And the takeaway I want you to have from that is that there's always going to be noise. There's always going to be distraction. Sometimes it may be louder than others. But ultimately, the market is resilient and rewards those with a long-term perspective. Matt, can you go to the next slide? Yeah, thank you. And so one of the other things that I want to make sure we have some perspective on is staying invested and the importance of staying invested. There's a human tendency toward loss aversion bias. right? The reality is that losses seem to hurt more than gains feel good. But if you look back over history and look at some of the more recent drawdowns, or go back to the 70s or 80s on that chart before us, many of the market's best days occur within very close proximity to the market's worst days. And so this chart just gives some perspective on were you to go out of the market and miss out on some of those best days, how that would erode your returns over the long term. And then the third and final point that I want to make is to focus on what we can control, right? So U.S. policy, trade policy, that's obviously something that we cannot control. It's totally out of our span of control. But asset allocation, risk management, those are things that we can control. And those are things that we build into and are reflected in our clients' signature life plan. The signature life plan is the centerpiece of everything that we do in working with each of our clients' unique situations and goals and ambitions. And so working together with you on your plan, that's what drives the asset allocation. That's what drives the investment plan. Those are the things that we can control. And over time, we feel like the market returns will take care of themselves.
Which leads us to the fifth P, which is the hardest part. I was with a client this morning and he said, "Oh, this is so difficult to look at every day, patience." And so, as you all know, the bear market, or you don't know, the bear market protocols I developed years ago, and since forming Signature Wealth in 2020 as a faith-based practice, I've added that sixth P with it, which is prayer. It's a reminder that I believe God is in charge, God has our back, and that ultimately we are going to be okay and we are going to be fine. So patience is hard. We need to hear the noise, recognize, as Ryan said, independent of how you get your news, their goal is to grab your attention. So there's going to be a lot of shock and awe. That's why we want to be out in front broadly this way, sharing investment perspective as we will, as we find things that are worthwhile via email, and then doing those one-on-one check-ins anytime that you feel like you may want to have a deeper dive either on your personal situation or a particular question of what's going on in the markets. And so to close our prepared remarks, I'm going to close this in prayer. Dear God, thank you for giving us the gift of life and for oxygen. We know that you alone are good and that you want the best for us. In this uncertain time, please be with our country. Please be with its leaders and other countries' leaders. Help them find a sense of unity, of working together to compromise, to find ways to work things out so that we can have resolution and ultimately a peaceful, forward-moving progress. We ask this in your name. Amen. Okay, if you can stop the recording, please.